What's up? Riter Radio returns. That's 3 hours. It's Monday. It is December 29th, and the Bills lost. And I don't typically open the show with a guest, but we happen to have someone we refer to as our senior Philly correspondent. His name is Jon Fuller, coming at us live from Philly or the Philly area. So he wasn't here to experience Buffalo, the Buffalo version of this game, but he watched, and he's here to talk. So let's check in. Well, you say it.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior Philly correspondent, Jon Fuller.
And here he is. It's Jon Fuller on the phone. Hi, Jon.
Hey, Brad.
Congratulations on your amazing victory.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Yes. I'm excited as a win, but after I sat there and watched that game, I was like, that game, the Eagles played exactly how the Eagles have played all season, and the Bills played exactly how the Bills played all season, except they didn't get the 2-point conversion when they had gotten the big play most of the time this year, right? I mean, the Eagles played a great first half, and then kind of didn't do anything in the second half because they let their foot off the gas. Their defense played well enough to keep them in the game. And then the Bills come down, and obviously you know what happened, and they just didn't get the 2-point conversion to win. But I was fully expecting the Bills to win that game. It was just exactly – I'm not going to sit here and complain because the Eagles won the game, but it's just what makes it so frustrating being an Eagles fan this year because it's how every game has been. They just can't put a full game together. They play great, and then I don't know if they get too conservative. I don't know what it is, but it's very frustrating. And I think I joked, I texted you guys that sports talk radio here in Philadelphia sounds exactly like sports talk radio in Buffalo does right now. Yeah. Everybody hates everybody. Everybody complains about everybody, except the Eagles won the game.
Yep.
But I'm sure it sounds exactly how it does up there.
Well, let me give you my quick perspective on the game because, first of all, I accept the loss. I didn't want the Patriots to win the division, and I really felt like even though people are writing it off, that the Dolphins had a decent chance of beating them next week, and then the Bills are going to play the Jets. And if they get through this Philly game, I felt like they had not quite a 50-50 chance, but like a 30% chance of winning the division anyway. But once we got late in the going, and I was saying the whole time, like it was, we're sitting at 13-0, and all I kept saying was 14-13 is a completely acceptable score today. I'll take it for a couple reasons. One, NFC game means less. Two, weather kind of turned it into a little bit of a fake game. Like that's not what the Bills look like, and that's not what the Eagles look like. But they got through it, and it was pretty entertaining. I can't imagine having tickets and sitting out there in that miserable weather. It was just, so how do you expect them to play like it's not going on? I'm not capable of sitting and watching it in person. How do I expect them to perform, at the level that I'm accustomed to? So I'm building in some excuses for it, but ultimately it came down to it. I thought that last drive was among the coolest drives I've ever seen. There were 3 or 4 wacky plays on it. The deep ball to, was it Shavers?
Cooks. Was it Cooks?
The Cooks. There was the Cooks play, and now we're removed from it. I don't have notes in front of me, but there were several. The Josh scrambled to get down inside the 5 or right around the 5. The score, then it comes back because he's a couple inches short, and then they drew up a play that in real life I don't think I want to go for 2. But in this game, with this kicker who had better not be around next week, we've seen him for 2 weeks. There's no confidence there. We've been through this at UB before where it's like, now this year we don't have a kicker, so we're going to go for a lot more things than we used to. And I felt okay with that. So I like the decision. And then they did have the play, and it did work. And Josh just doesn't miss on that ever. So he did this time, and they lose. But am I going to blame Josh Allen for missing one pass? He misses so few. It's like, I wish they won, but I still feel okay about everything I saw there. And while I've been picturing winning the division and getting the 2 seed, I don't hate being down at the bottom and playing against that 2 seed either, whether it's New England or it's Denver. So, all the stuff you're saying about playing half a game, if the Bills keep doing that too, that's getting frustrating. Our 2 teams are kind of living parallel lives. But when all is said and done, I'm mostly just happy I wasn't there. And I'm able to put this one to bed. And I want a healthy team coming out of the Jets game heading into the playoffs. And they're going to have to go on the road. So be it. Like, that's just kind of where I land. Like, as a Eagles fan who is married to a Bills fan and watches all the Bills games too, is that about right? Like, you walk away from that feeling any worse about the Bills than you did before the game? Because I kind of don't.
No, the Bills are. I think they're fine, and I look at the AFC, and it's. I wouldn't be scared of anybody. I mean, and even like Denver kind of reminds me of the Chiefs last year, where they've won a lot of close games, but I don't know how good they were. And I think there's no doubt that the Bills can beat them. New England they're the darling of the league, but the Bills already, they went up there and beat them after being down 21-0. So I would think any close game, I would think that that New England's going to kind of go into a shell a little bit if it's close at the end, right? So you're worried about going to Jacksonville. You're worried about playing Houston. I mean, I just said.
Little bit Houston, but I watched some injuries happen this weekend too that made me a little.
I mean, their defense is good, but I mean, come on. Honestly, like. Josh Allen had a bad game, but again, I think a lot of it has to do with the weather. I don't even know if that was a fumble. I think it was a fumble, but that was a huge play in the game. Obviously, it looked like his arm was going forward, but I think that might have been the right call, but who knows? He was a little off. Obviously, I think he's a little hurt.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, next week they can pretty much rest everybody. I don't think next week matters now. Is that correct?
Well, seeding. I mean, if they win, they could get up to 5. If they, depending on what the other teams that are sitting with the same record as them. But I mean, do you care that much about that? I guess the reason to care about that would be if your 1 seed disappears and your 2 seed disappears, and suddenly the AFC Championship game is being hosted by the 5 seed. I don't know. I don't think it's going to matter. So there's not a lot there. As far as reason to go all out, and as the week progresses, I'll think through it a little bit more and have a better idea. But all I'm thinking about right now is being as healthy as possible, getting into the playoffs, and taking my chances against any of those teams. It sounds like a rough road to go win 3 road games, but there's not one on that list that sounds like the tough one. So I don't know. I feel all right.
Guess where you're not going? You're not going to Kansas City. You don't have to worry about going there.
Right. Yeah.
That's great.
Right.
I guess, I mean, if Baltimore sneaks in, I mean, maybe they're in play, but I don't even think the Bills wouldn't play them because Baltimore would be 4. So unless the Bills
4 or 5 could be a thing.
5,
yeah, that could be a thing. And they could play anybody really at this point. And I'm not afraid of any of them. I don't want to have to win 3 games. I was hoping, or 3 games on the road. I was hoping to at least start things off in Orchard Park. But you know what? When you
look at it this way, Brad, they've not gone to the Super Bowl by losing playoff games at home. Maybe this is a thing. Just go on the road, and win them all, and they'll get there. They've never done that before.
No, that's a valid point. I don't know, man. I guess where I wind up is if you don't play at home, because let's just assume of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs, the best chance for terrible weather is here. And when I've got the best player, I don't want to play in terrible weather. I want to play I'm watching the Sunday night game last night. Incredible, perfect performance back and forth on the offensive side of the ball for both teams, at least in the first half. And I'm just thinking, well, Josh could do that if it wasn't pouring in his eyes the whole time. Like, I don't know. It feels to me like, of course I wanted to win, but it feels like a fake game to me. And I do think that should have been an incomplete pass, and I think that threw them off the Allen fumble thing. Honestly, I think if anyone else is announcing the game other than Brady, they would have just been all over it, saying that thing should have been a fumble. But I think Brady tries to steer clear. The Burkhardt tried to lead him into a conversation briefly about the talk rule, like, aha, you know about this thing, Tom. But to me, it was pretty clear. It wasn't a good pass, and the ball slipped out of his hand, but it slipped as he was throwing the ball. That, I think, 9 times out of 10, that is called an incomplete pass. It doesn't solve anything. But, you look back at obviously the 2-point conversion is the easiest thing to look at, but even Allen coming up short by 2 inches on that fourth down play down at the other end. A lot of things could have been a lot different if one play goes this way or that. And that is the defending Super Bowl champ. I know that's your team. I know you've got a list of frustrations with them, but you're playing against one of the better teams in the league. The defense looked fantastic in the first half, and they didn't look bad in the second half either. I mean, they gave up 12 points in the game, so they did okay. That was impressive. That's an impressive defense. Offense obviously needs some work, and I'm starting to get why you guys all hate your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, but it's a new one again this year. I mean, that's when you have a good team, as the Bills go through this too. It's like you lose coordinators on a consistent basis because they get to be head coaches or and move on. So it's like I think Jalen Hurts is a different offensive coordinator, like for 8 or 9 years in a row, going all the way back to college. At one point, Brian Dable was his offensive coordinator at Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. Before he transferred. That's right. That's crazy.
All right. So it's crazy to think how many. So, but it's also week 16. I mean, you should start getting your crap together here and being on the same page. It's you can't it's very frustrating. But we'll take the win. But I don't really have high hopes for this team in general, just because I just don't. You look at like the Sunday night game, it's just, I mean, they're going end to end. It's the Bears and the 49ers just going end to end, scoring. And the Rams score. I mean, everybody else in the NFC can score a ton of points, and the Eagles just can't now. So there's only so much your defense can do. You got to put some points on the board. So the Eagles, obviously, they can maybe get to the 2 seed. They're probably going to be the 3 seed, and they could play the Rams in the first round, which is insane to me. And they'll probably be done in the first round and lose to the Rams in the first round, which would be, par for the course.
What is your opinion / the consensus opinion about Jalen Hurts? Because I can't figure out if I'm supposed to be really impressed with him or if I'm supposed to be really annoyed by him. I thought his elusiveness today or yesterday, whatever, this week was super impressive. There were probably 5 times where most quarterbacks would have been down, but we're used to seeing it from Josh Allen. We're just not used to seeing it happen to the Bills in the same way. But a lot of plays that I thought were about to be losses turned into gains. I thought they were going to get him off the field. It turns into a first down, and a lot of it was his composure. I was really impressed. Obviously, the second half was a little different, but even there were a lot of times he got away with some things that looked like they were about to be Bills' successes. So I don't know, what do you think of that guy as a quarterback? Yeah. And you won a Super Bowl with him, so you can't be too mad. But what is that? How do you assess it?
I've said it before. I mean, he's the most polarizing athlete I think in Philadelphia sports history, because he's frustrating to watch and that he doesn't put huge numbers up, but he wins. I mean, he won a Super Bowl last year. He should have been MVP of the Super Bowl 2 years ago when they lost to the Chiefs. He had a great game there. Yeah. He just gets the job done. It's not fancy. He doesn't really make mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over. He manages the offense well. He just doesn't. Like, everybody wants Josh Allen because he's fun to watch, and he makes crazy plays. He's never going to make a highlight play. He just goes about his business. I mean, it also helps that he's throwing to Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, and he can, throw quick outs, and he doesn't have to wait for guys to get open because they're usually pretty open. Yeah. But
what's that like? What's that like, having open receivers?
I know. Cool? It is pretty nice.
It seems cool.
Yeah. Although. Yeah. Well, one of these years, the Bills will get an official number 1 wide receiver. It'd be nice.
Yeah, I mean, even watching Diggs, like, he's still got it. Watching him play for the Patriots, but it was time for him to leave. So, like, I'm not even mad about it, and I like the attempts they've made, and it was cool to see, like, if Brandon Cooks is actually a part of the offense as opposed to just somebody they're using to heave the ball deep and incomplete to take the top off, like, it wasn't working. It finally did this week. Like, you could see where, this is why this guy has been in the league for a while. It's why he was a high draft pick. And, like, it's all there with him. And, like, bringing Gabe Davis back, to me, that makes sense. But I think they targeted him once today after sitting him the last 2 weeks in a row, I believe. So it's like, I don't know. And without Kincaid in the lineup, that matters a lot, although they're getting production from the other tight ends. So I don't know, man. I'm just talking in circles, I guess, about a team that I still think is fine, but I wish the receiver position was stronger because, I mean, every time that Josh is in trouble, it's because there's nothing happening down the field.
Yeah, and I think too, there's just no swagger. Like, there's no receiver with any kind of swagger. There's no fear. There's no receivers that put fear into a defense. Right. Diggs had ultimate swagger, right? And you knew he was going to come up with a big play, and he usually did. And Shakir, I like. Shakir's a good player,
right?
But there's like a slot receiver that's
wonderful part of a team. He's a part of a team.
Yes.
But he's not going to lead your receiving.
Part of a team. Right. They've just never had that, alpha since Diggs left. They haven't had that alpha dog receiver, and it's a shame because you have the best quarterback on the planet on your team, and you can't. And there's nobody for him to throw it to. So I mean, I think getting Dalton Kincaid back, hopefully he comes back soon, will help because I mean that's definitely seems to be his safety blanket, and he can get open, but. They need someone, and they need someone to step up, no doubt.
All right. On the Eagles, back to the Eagles. Obviously, you already dropped in that you envision them going into the first round and being knocked out, but that's part Jon Fuller and that's part Philadelphia. But like looking from the outside, that still is one of the teams to beat in the NFC. Who do you really not want to play? You already mentioned the Rams. Who else are you looking at as like? Keep me away from them, please.
Rams are number one. I would like to see the Bears again. I mean, the Bears smoked the Eagles after Thanksgiving, and they just ran all over the Eagles. That wouldn't happen again. So I would like to see the Bears. Now they're not going to. Well, I guess they could. I mean, I guess the Bears haven't wrapped up. So. I guess they have, but they won't going to play the Bears. I would love to play the Packers, is who I would love the Eagles to play, but I don't think the Packers. The Eagles have to get to 2. If the Eagles can get to 2, meaning the Bears would have to lose to they'd have to lose again next week to the Lions, who kind of mailed it in. I don't know, but they'd have to get the 2 to play the Packers. I would love to play them. I don't want to play the Rams, and otherwise I think you're probably playing the 49ers, and they're really hot right now.
Yeah.
So. I would like to play the Packers. I would not like to play. I definitely don't play the Rams, and I'm not really keen on playing the 49ers. That being said, you get them at home, cross-country trip. Hopefully that helped. And the Eagles beat, the Rams last year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So and the Packers last year in the playoffs too to route to the Super Bowl. So it's crazy. Look at the Eagles, and it's like they're 11 and 5 now, and their schedule was impossible this year. Like I think it's the first time in NFL history the Eagles never played back-to-back home games. They were home and road. They never played consecutive home games. And the Bills had 3 in a row at home at one point of the season, didn't they?
I think that's right.
The Eagles did not play consecutive home games at first time ever in NFL history. And they had to play, I think, 10 teams that were in the playoffs last year. Now, the Commanders aren't the Commanders they were.
Sure.
They weren't as good. But still, they went on the road. They beat the Lions. They beat the Packers. They beat the Rams. They beat the Bucks, who could win a division. I mean, they've had they just beat the Bills, and they've had an impossible schedule, and they're an 11 and 5. So it's as much as I complain about this team, the fact that they're 11 and 5 with the schedule they had is pretty impressive.
And they've got the confidence of knowing that they've won before. So no matter who you're facing in the playoffs, it's a team that just won the Super Bowl. It's a coach that won the Super Bowl. It's a quarterback that won the Super Bowl. It's most of an O-line that won the Super Bowl. It's most of a defense that won the Super Bowl. Like they're in good shape. I wouldn't want to see them in the NFC. Come Super Bowl, I'll take anybody. It doesn't matter. I don't care. And I would like to see these two teams, because I think that it was sloppy, but it was a good football game. Seeing these two teams play again in a real game that's not watered down literally, I think would be fun. So I respect the team, but I don't fear them. Like I don't fear anyone for the Bills if Josh Allen's healthy-ish, like even healthy-ish. 100% Josh, different story. Then it's like bring on anyone. He's hobbled right now for sure. I think he had X-rays again after the game, and they're negative again. But he's for sure banged up. But he's still the guy that I trust, even if he can't run the same way that he does when he's at 100%. So I don't know. I just. Maybe this is me just telling myself everything's going to be okay, but it's really how I felt watching the game. It never got away from them. They couldn't get anything going offensively, but it's score, stop, score is the solution. Even getting a halftime down, it's like, all right, come out, get the ball, get a stop, get a score. You got the lead, everything's fine, and they were real close to winning that thing anyway, obviously. So I don't know. I guess I'm just using you as an ear to make myself think. And anyone listening think that everything's going to be okay. Because honestly, this is what I've been saying. When people are questioning what's wrong with this team during the course of this, it's October. Like, why isn't the offense? Who cares? Who cares? The offense has been great in October for years. And what matters is January and hopefully February. So round it into shape, figure a couple things out, get a little healthier, and go out there and beat these teams that are not led by Josh Allen. I think they'll be okay. Thank you for being my therapist, John.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll tell you something else that'll make you feel better. I mean, the strength of the NFL is the NFC. I mean, like we said this before, I mean, there's nobody in the AFC that should even scare you. So, I mean, the path to the Super Bowl, while it's likely going to be 3 road games, is easily doable, I think.
Yeah.
If they'll be fine. They'll be fine. I'm just not afraid of anybody in the AFC.
Yeah. I hear people, I have heard people in years past talk about, man, it's just wide open this year. And I always think, not really. I can tell you the 3 teams on this side that have a chance and the 2 on this side that have a chance. This is the first time that I've ever, that I can recall feeling this way, where it's like, yeah, there are going to be 7 teams in the playoffs, and in the AFC, I think maybe 6 of them could go to the Super Bowl, and on the NFC side, I think probably 5 of the 7 could go to the Super Bowl. So that makes for a fun month.
No doubt. And if you look at the AFC, just look at the quarterbacks. Like they're good quarterbacks, but I don't think any of them have been to the playoffs or that far into the playoffs.
Well, are you going to trust Herbert? Allen. Are you going to trust Herbert? Are you going to trust Trevor Lawrence?
Right.
I mean, these are, high draft picks that are tremendously talented, but I'm waiting for that swoon in January. Josh Allen statistically is one of, if not the best quarterbacks to ever play playoff football. It's unbelievable when you pile up his numbers, and crazy that he hasn't been to a Super Bowl yet. So a couple of your nemesis type of characters have been eliminated already. So you got that put aside. Now go beat Bo Nix or whatever it takes.
Right.
And I like Drake May, and I think Drake May is going to be awesome. But I'll take my veteran guy over your second-year guy, second-year guy. I'm okay there too. And I like you already brought this up, but I think even going into Foxborough, that team's got to be spooked by what happened last time. Yes, they've refocused and they're okay, and they won the division, and they got their shirts and their hats and all that stuff, but when Josh Allen is on that field, they know what happened last time. And they were able to squeak one out in Orchard Park, but they weren't able to do it in Foxborough with a 21-point lead. So that's all sitting there too.
Sure is.
All right.
So what you're saying is Bills, Eagles, Super Bowl. That's what it sounds like to me.
I would be fine with that. What is your plan? I know we talked about this, I think, last year, but what is your plan for if that were to happen as an Eagles fan living with a Bills fan wife, Bills fan daughter in Buffalo, New York? Yeah. How does that work? Do you watch in the basement or something?
Well, so obviously it almost happened last year because we're halfway there. So the plan was that the Bills would have won last year, that Don and Nora would have gone to a relative's house and watched. I mean, you can't even watch in the same house. It was uncomfortable watching. I don't like watching the Eagles play the Bills, or you know what I mean. I root for the Bills for you guys. I do want the Bills to be successful, right? But the Eagles are my team. I obviously always want them to win. And just sitting there watching this game was hard. And even though it wasn't as a big a deal, but it's just like. I mean, they cheer a lot more than I do. I try to be a little more respectful, and not cheer face. They cheer right in my face, and that's fine. There wasn't a lot to cheer about tonight, but they are definitely cheer, but it's fine. But the plan would be they would go somewhere else to watch.
Okay.
Because the other issue too is, and I don't know if it's like this at your house, but in our house, we have TVs in the basement, TVs in the living room, but none of them are ever timed the same. So it's like one's always like 5 or 10 seconds behind the other one or ahead of the other one. So it's like, and now you're watching and they're cheering and you don't know why they're, because this just happened, so it's like, I don't want to be, and I want to be, please be in a different house, or I'll go somewhere else. I don't want. Yeah, I don't know what that delay is.
I even had the delay hit me last night watching the game, or yesterday. It was dark out, so it felt like night, but it was like almost 8 o'clock when it ended. Anyway, I was watching the game, and we have YouTube TV, which I know is behind, but it's fine. But I get a text message from Scott, and it says, "What the hell is he doing?" And I was just like, "What the hell is who doing? What?" And then I proceeded to watch Josh run backward and get tackled at the 50 to take him out of field goal range. But he had to be at least 30 seconds ahead of me in what he was watching compared to what I was watching. So he's in Syracuse, and I still got screwed by the delay. We had a problem back when I worked at GR, and I used to do the Sabres pre and post game show, and I would be in at the arena for the home games, but for the road games, I would come in and watch in the studio. And then, I'd do the pregame show. I'd sit and watch the game in the studio. I'd jump in during intermissions, and then I'd come back on during postgame. And the problem there was we're watching on TV, but we were broadcasting the games on the radio, and the radio is ahead of the TV. So we had to, beg whoever was producing in the room right across from us. We're looking right through glass, watching on TV. We had to beg that person to not react. And it got ugly because it was only 3 seconds different. But you would see a fist pump. You're like, don't do that. It was just to a point where I remember one poor producer at some point after the third time that it happened going, I didn't even do anything. But he did because we knew that either the Sabres scored or the other team scored from his reaction. And it sucked. So, yeah, you just want to isolate yourself. It might be if we're into the playoffs, I might just turn the phone off. I don't need to see your tweets. Yep. I don't need to see texts. After the game, we can talk all you want, but I don't need something from my dad is very respectful. My dad will always say, "Are you caught up on the game?" After it ends, and then okay, and then we'll talk. I always watch the game live anyway, but he sometimes doesn't, and we're respectful. You have to respect these sort of things, and you can just get bit by having a telephone, even if you're not on Twitter, even if you're not following. Just all of a sudden, I had a thing happen where I was looking at the phone. When was it? It was at some point over the weekend. It was, what it was? I was watching something on Saturday, I think, and thinking about fantasy football. And I was like, all right, we need a touchdown here. And Nate, I think, said, all right, this play, get it to him in the end zone. And I'm like, no, because my scoreboard on my fantasy app is 20 seconds ahead of the thing. So this is something, it's like a public service announcement. Be respectful of other people's viewing and listening situations, and we could all just be quiet. If we could all just stop talking during games, it would probably be better for everyone. We'll leave them with that, John, as we wrap up this opening segment of Riter Radio, episode 233. Congratulations again on your dominant victory, and hope to see your team again in February, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds great, Brad.
All right,
thanks.
Thank you. There's a senior Philadelphia correspondent, Jon Fuller, kind enough to join us from Philly, or outside of Philly, wherever his dad lives. He's down there. He'll be back. He'll be back real soon. We'll talk to him from Buffalo next time. All right, quick timeout. We'll be back. Scott Wilson joins me at 11. Stick around. It's Riter Radio, episode 233. We'll be back after a couple tunes. Hang on.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's senior football correspondent, Scott Wilson.
All right, so we can do the audio part like we normally do, and I'll figure out the video part of it, I guess. And then at some point we might get interrupted by music because I don't know what just happened with the music. It disappeared. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Scott Wilson, how are you?
Man, it was like it's like the Big Bopper. It's the day the music died. It's gone. It just dropped right off. Just dropped right off the face of the planet.
I
There.
know.
I thought I did something. I thought I hung up
No.
on you until I heard you say,
What the
drop
hell's
an
going
F-bomb
on?
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
I think you
all
only.
right with me.
I think only you heard the F-bomb. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think, but I don't know. I don't know what just happened, but it's okay. And we might get interrupted by music at some point, but I don't know. We're good. How are things, man?
Well, let's make sure. Are we on? Are we for sure on?
We're for sure on.
Or are we going to have to do this again at noon?
No, we are. You know what? You saying that made me realize I have to switch the video thing because we are on audio wise, but video wise, I don't have the picture of you up and the picture of me and the camera of me. So I've got to switch that, and I don't know what just happened. I just got a message in the chat says you're on. Yeah, I know I'm on. We're
Okay.
good. It's real. I just right now the camera part's not up. I don't know what just happened, man. It doesn't matter. It's fine. How are you?
Good.
Cool. Merry Christmas. How was
Merry
Christmas? Yeah.
Good. I was up at midnight on Christmas. I was hoping for the call. I was hoping
Oh yeah.
like, hey, this is Brad. Do you have like 10 minutes to come on? I'm about to eat mayo outside of the
We're doing
Basilica.
it. I'm face first in clam dip outside of the right. Yeah. No. We didn't do that, but I think it's fine. I think thinking about doing it was a positive, and then we didn't have to actually do it. You know?
Yeah. Okay. There was the bowl games happened. The French fries were thrown. I didn't even think to add into that list that I gave you of Pop-Tarts
Yeah.
was in there.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
And come to find out, we talked about the coffee thing. It was not just dry ground coffee. It turned out to be iced coffee.
Yeah.
And they actually made a special big giant coffee mug to pour it out of onto the coach. So that was a nice touch.
Yeah. And iced coffee, I abide by iced coffee like that. Yes, I would have. That's number one on the list of all those things that you listed. I would rank that number one. Iced coffee. I like the smell of coffee. I like the taste of coffee. I don't drink a lot of coffee, but I enjoy coffee existing. And iced coffee, while the ice part kind of sucks to get dumped on you, I would have taken that one number one. That's my number one draft pick. That one's great. Like even if you take the shower to get the stink off you, I still just smell like coffee. That's not bad. That's great, actually. So that would have been number one.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I still think it probably would have been easier to do the Cheez-Its if you had to eat them all in 24 hours as opposed to drink the big cup of iced coffee.
The Gatorade jug of iced coffee. It's tough.
Right. Yeah.
That's heart attack. I'm dead at that point. And the thing is, I'm realizing my age. I'm gonna break this news right now. Nobody knows this except my wife.
Okay.
I slipped on ice yesterday, and I don't know. You're familiar with my body shape.
Okay.
When I go down,
You're like I would describe it as young Dolph Lundgren.
I would describe
really-
it as old. I would describe it as old Dolph Lundgren.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I go down, that's not cool. When that happens on a street, that's super not cool. All I have, I have general soreness, but I also have the only concern is I ripped my knee open real bad, and my wife deals in sepsis, so every wound she is ready for the person to die and is scouting out the problems with that. Like professionally, this is what she does. I am worthless. She saves lives. So I'm trying to make sure that my wound, which is disgusting, does not turn into anything. So that's where I am. And I woke up and it felt bad, but not like sepsis bad, just bad. So
is it gangrene? You don't want to get gangrene. You don't.
No.
Does it smell like almonds?
it doesn't smell like anything.
Okay.
So I fell. All right, let's start with this. Here's when it happened.
You've fallen before and broken things, so this isn't a new thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That happened in, we analyzed, I think it was 2017, that I slipped, fell, broke my, I don't know, a bone in my leg. And since then, I've been paranoid about walking on ice or really just walking. Like it was horrible. It was horrible. The last time when I did it, Nate was 3 years old. I was carrying him at the time. I slipped, fell, broke my leg, got up, walked to the car with a broken leg, drove home, called my dad. My dad picked me up. We went to the hospital. They diagnosed it as a high ankle sprain, which meant I'd be out 2 to 3 weeks if I was playing football. But in like real life, that's what they called it. And they said, if it gets worse, call this number. And it didn't get worse, but it didn't get better. And this happened August like 18th, 19th, something like that. And then on Halloween is when I went in, got an MRI, and they're like, oh, it's broken. Like, oh, cool. And then I got a cast. And then we went to Ball State. Like all that happened. It's just insane. So I've been like paranoid nuts since then. And I fell yesterday. I was lying in a street in Cheektowaga. I was picking up my son from his cousin's house. And I was like, all right, I'm okay. I was down. I was like, ow. And I was like, I'm okay. I don't want to freak out my kid because I'm picking up the 9-year-old. I don't want to freak him out. He's on the other side of the truck. And then I'm like, I'm okay. And I stood up, and then some woman outside with her dog was like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm fine. And so I got back in the truck, and I was fine. And then I was driving home, and it hurt a lot. It still hurts a lot. I reached down to my the part that hurt the most, which is my knee, my left knee, and I touched it. I pulled up my pants. Oh, by the way, let's just throw this out there. There is nothing stupider than Zubaz pants, right? We know that. We all agree on that. But, oh my God, do they look dumb when you realize you still have them on and you're driving to pick up your kid after a loss. Like Zubaz after a loss is next level stupidity. So that's what I'm wearing. And that was my first fear, actually, is like when I fell, I'm like, did I rip the Zubaz? Because I've only had them for like 2 years. I got them as a Christmas present or something, and I put them on when they were down 7-0, and so I reached down. They're very easy to pull up, which is nice. So I pull them up to like feel my wound while I'm driving, and picking up pizza too. It was a full night. And I didn't feel any wetness at all. But then after touching the wound, I licked my finger, see if it tasted like iodine or iron or what iron. If it tastes like iron. Is that right? And it did. So it there was blood. And then I also realized that my pants were sticking to my knee. So there was something going on. But I came home, I cleaned it with water and a paper towel, and then I put Neosporin on it, and then I put a Band-Aid on it, and then I went to go help my friend whose basement was flooded. So I don't know. That's the whole story, really. But I'm a little concerned I'm going to die from sepsis.
Well, there's a lot going on there. First of all, you clearly are your family's Willis Reed. I mean, the amount of work that was done on those injuries is admirable. That's, listen, you're holding up the crew. Second, I like that instead you didn't trust your eyes to see if that was blood on your hands, that you tasted it.
Well, I was driving.
Right, but I mean, you could have seen if your hand was red. But I like that you're like, you know what? Don't trust it. I don't trust it. I'm going to do, taste it.
Yeah.
Gotta taste it.
I did look to see it. My hand was not red. I looked, but I was like, I don't know. There's something else going on. So I appreciate what you're saying. But I did look first. I did. And I didn't see anything. But I was like, I don't know.
Now you're covering. You're covering because you've just revealed to everybody that you like the taste of blood. Let me ask you a straight question. Is
this vampire related?
How much blood do you think you drink in 5 minutes? How much can we get down you?
Yeah. No, I'm not doing that one.
Okay.
Right.
My final thing is this.
Yeah.
It's that Jon Fuller and myself should be very, very worried because this year has been a rough year for our broadcast booth now. And things happen in threes, and it's starting I'm starting to feel like it's Final Destination. And I'm just waiting for a power, a power line to surge and arc strike me on the street. Paul almost died because of the UMass game.
Right.
And now here you are. The Eagles almost took you out.
Yep.
Wow, it's got to be me because the Eagles took you out.
Right. It can't be John.
And it can't be John. So I'm very nervous. I'm very, very nervous now.
Well, the reality is we have a 3-person broadcast crew, and 2 of us have nearly died. I mean, John is broadcast adjacent. He's a part of the pregame show a little bit, and he's involved. But if you had to name who are the 3 people on the broadcast crew, it's 3 of us, and 2 of us have nearly died. So you're not
right.
Yeah. Wow. That
no,
sucks.
I know.
That sucks for you.
Know.
That sucks for you because Paul is great. I'm fine, I think, unless sepsis gets me, and then you're absolutely screwed.
Yeah. No. I'm not at. I don't. Does it end at the year? Does it end at New Year's, or does it?
No. Well, maybe it ends at New Year's. I don't know.
I'd be so pissed.
Careful. Be careful out there, Scott.
I do have the same deal that Beano Cook used to have with God, which is you can take me whenever you want as long as it's not in college football season. So once between the season ending and starting,
yeah,
fair game.
Fine.
In season. Not cool.
No, not cool. Well, especially because what's that going to do to me and Paul? We
it's
can't have
certainly
that.
going to make the next broadcast interesting.
Yeah. and a
a
tribute
helmet sticker maybe.
Get your helmet sticker.
Yeah, an initial helmet sticker.
Yeah.
For a game.
Would it just be like an SW, or do you think there'd be something fancier?
I think that they'd probably just put a picture of me, just make me the logo for the week, where it's me holding my pork loin that I won.
Oh, that's a great idea. That
From
would make a great helmet. You in the
would.
pork loin on a helmet would be fantastic.
Yeah, the meat raffle.
Yeah, that was great. All right.
Do you want to talk about the Bills game?
Yeah.
I think it's.
I mean, I talked about it with John a couple minutes ago, but we'll keep doing it. Josh is definitely.
I don't have a lot on it.
No, I don't either. Josh is definitely hurt, And they definitely called the right play on the 2-point conversion. And I don't think that was a fumble. I think that was an incomplete pass. And if any other announcer was there, they would have talked about it more, but it was Brady, so they can't get super deep into talk rule and how stupid it is. But I think, like, legally that was – and that play ruined the game for the Bills, or ruined them at least for the first half. I don't know. Brandon Cooks can catch, it turns out, which is cool. I don't know. They're the same team they were before. I wanted the 2 seed. I wanted the 1 seed, honestly. They're not getting either of those, and they're going to have to go on the road, and they're going to be a favorite everywhere, I think. So, I don't know. They are who we thought they were, and I hope Josh is not super hurt. Him not being able to run the way that he does is an issue, but he still can gut things out. I don't know. I feel okay. Who's scaring me in the AFC? It's kind of where I am.
Well, I think Houston would scare you.
Yep.
Yep.
You said the word, and I got scared. So, yep.
I think for me, the thing is less about Josh's injury and more about his mental situation right now, which is, I think that they win that game fairly easily yesterday if he doesn't put too much on his shoulders. He's trying too hard and he's overthinking things. 3 of the biggest plays in the game, he's got the easiest throws that he could possibly make on all those route trees and the play. And he just kind of chooses not to do it. And he's just overthinking it. And the fumble play, he's got a guy, I think it was Hawes. He's got a guy just right there, just throw him the football wide open. On the play where he scrambles and runs around and takes him out of field goal range, and they loses like 15 yards and they have to punt, I think, late third quarter or early
We
fourth.
talked about this one already on the show because that's the one where I realized you're watching faster than me. Yeah.
There's a guy wide open in the flat. Just dump it out there. Even if you don't get it, it's fine. It's
respectable.
On the 4th and goal,
Ugh.
where he ends up scrambling and comes up, down at the 1 yard line. He's got Cooks right there in the flat. Just flip him the ball. Just get the ball to him. He's just, we talk all the time about, he can put on the cape. And sometimes you don't need to. He had easy plays that he passed on. And I know Brady pointed out a couple times where there were problems with protection that he made. So, maybe it is as simple as he's had to deal with the injury this week and doing like recovery rehab so that he's able to play, so that some of the other stuff that he would be working on, he's not. He hasn't been injured all that much this in his career. So, maybe it is something new that he's adjusting to. And Philadelphia, I think, I know everybody in Philadelphia and Fuller hates this team. They're still winning the division.
Yeah, they're super good.
Home game, and they're still really freaking good.
They're super good. The defense is awesome, and then the offense that everyone's mad at is still Hurts and Barkley and Brown and Smith and Goddard. Like that's a real team. That's who I kind of expect to play in the Super Bowl if the Bills can get there. Like that I know the Rams are fun, and I know the Niners are fun. There's a lot going on in the NFC right now, but I still think the class of the conference is Philly, and that's who you just played. That's who you just played, and you lost by a point because you went for 2 because you have your third kicker in. What do you think about the 2-point conversion thing? Like, to me,
no.
In the real world, with a kicker you believe in, kinda even, and weather that's not horrible and turf that's not wet and all that crap, I just kick the extra point and go beat them because they have not completed a pass in the second half. Like we're gonna win that game in overtime. That's fine. But all things considered, I didn't hate it. Like it's okay to go for 2 to me in that spot because of all the factors. Without the factors, no, we're kicking and we're fine. But you got blocked on the other extra point. This guy's been here for 2 weeks. He's not your first or second choice at kicker. I'm okay with going for it. And the play worked. And Josh never misses that pass. And he just did. And I don't know. That's kind of like I don't have a major change in how I feel about the team based on that. Or based on any of it. Like it was a bad performance that should have been a win because Josh always completes that pass to Shakir. Always. So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of where I am.
The 2-point conversion I'm fine with, and I think to throw along in there, I think the other factors around the league have to play a role, I think, in the way I was thinking as well, because I am usually 90% of the time, and you know this, kick the field goal, take it to overtime. And you are 90% of the time, no, I'm going for 2. I'm winning the game right now. And I think a good part of that is good coaches kind of feel the difference and can have that feel in their team and the situation. I was 90% go for 2 in that because you know what? Earlier in the day, I saw the Patriots win by 100 points. And if we're real about their schedule and the situation, there's probably not much that's going to be happening with that now. Had they lost to the Jets or gotten upset, now we're talking about, okay, now I'm taking it over to now. At that point, it's like it's raining.
Let's get the hell out of here.
It's crap outside. Let's win it or not, and let's
do a
go
solid, almost preseason. Like do a solid for the fans. Get them out. Get them back in their cars. Get people home. Let's end this. Yeah, there was. Right, I think that was a part of it too. McDermott looked so decisive on it, but I think all of that factored in.
Yeah. But, they left a lot. And what you were talking about with the kicker, it brings me to another thing that it's a tangential argument on it, but it flowed into my mind when I was watching the game and thinking about it. And as a Giants fan who has had to deal with every other kicker and team having kickers that can just nail 60-yard field goals at the buzzer to beat my team all the time, historically, every single time, that if you listen to Lombardi, Brown, any great coach ever, any Hall of Fame coach always talks about the game in 3 phases. You have to win all 3 phases of the game. And it always gets minimalized, but it's always equally talked about by all the people that matter in the coaching world, that special teams matters. And in that game against Philadelphia, the difference in the game was special teams. The Bills couldn't reliably kick a field goal. That's a problem come playoff time when every game is going to be decided probably by 3 to 5 points. Yeah. So that's something to keep an eye on. But even further than that, it really made me pissed off when we're talking about the Hall of Fame. How can every coach and everybody that matters consider their 3 phases of the game, and just no one from the 3rd phase is ever respected enough to be acknowledged? It's an overarching problem. The Giants have 3 wins this year, and a big reason why is because they are only playing 2 phases and everyone else is playing 3, and it's just not respected enough. And it will always come back to bite you if you don't play the 3rd phase of the game, whether it's field position, missed field goals, extra points, punting field position. It's such an important part. It's completely disrespected and not respected enough. And I know the Bills do. I think they play good special teams in general, and they've had a rash of injuries at kicker that they've really had to deal with. But we see in a game between 2 really good teams, what did that game come down to? Yes, Josh missed open guys, and he made some bad decisions.
He missed one open guy. We can eliminate all of it. He missed an open guy, and there was a field goal blocked. or an extra point blocked. I mean, we can. That's what it is.
If you play the third phase,
yeah.
you win the game by 1. And what are the 2 special teams players in the Hall of Fame? This isn't me, saying Tasker.
No, Ray Guy and what? Oh, Stenerud. Ray Guy and Stenerud,
right.
2. Yep.
There's more impactful players from the third phase of the game that have never been respected.
Well, more yards are exchanged on special teams plays than any other plays. Like there was a return yesterday where Ray Davis got it out to like the 40 or 42 or something, but there was a hold, and now you're at the 20, and that's a different drive than starting at the 42 versus the 20 or whatever it was. It was in that range. It's massive, and it gets forgotten and lost, and I think this is an excellent point you're making.
Yeah. You look at he was an average corner, but Devin Hester's the best return man I've ever seen.
He's in, right?
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
I think he is.
I don't think he'll ever get the Hall of Fame.
I thought he was in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to look it up.
In the Hall of Fame? I'm totally wrong.
Yeah, I think he's in. I'm going to look it up. I think he's in.
But guys like him, the Dante Halls, Human Joystick, who and other returners like him, I mean, but still no one as good as that I've ever seen as Hester. Devin Hester was the offense for the Bears for like 6 seasons.
Yeah,
he didn't even play on all of it. He did make the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, as the only primary return specialist to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he's widely considered to be the greatest return specialist of all time. So, yes.
Okay.
But
I'm just saying.
But you're right, though.
There's a number of players.
I think it's 3. I think there's 1 returner, 1 kicker, 1 punter.
Right. And there's a number of players in the Hall of Fame that are not the best all time at their position. Right? I mean, there's 50 wide receivers in the game.
Almost everyone.
Are out of that
you can
conversation.
say that to almost everyone. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, why is the third phase the only one that's held to that standard? So let me get this right. You have to be the best of all time. Now, that's fine. If you want to keep that standard for everybody, that's fine. Make the Hall of Fame a depth chart of, all 22.
Sorry, no one's getting in this year.
And 3 special teamers. And, listen, unless you can come up with a wide receiver better than Jerry Rice, you're not getting in the Hall of Fame. That's fine. But it's only the third phase where so much happens in the game, and it's so important to the game, and it always has been. Is it treated like that? All right. I'm off my soapbox.
No, that was great. That was great. Somehow, knowing you as well as I do, talking to you as often as I do, hanging with you as often as I do, I didn't know that you felt that strongly about that, and I bought into everything you just said. I think that was an excellent argument. But, aside from you not knowing about Devin Hester being in the Hall of Fame, but I didn't either.
I should have known about Devin Hester. It's probably fairly recent.
But the point is, though, it's 3 ever.
Right.
It's 1 kicker. I'm going to say punting.
And would Hester have gotten in if he didn't also play defense? You know what I mean? I don't think so. I think he was.
No, that's probably right.
Played another position.
Right. It gave him more credibility, and that's probably right. But yeah, he's in, and you brought up Tasker briefly. I'm never going to be a proponent of Tasker because I've told this story multiple times on the air, but when I was a kid, I couldn't believe that Tasker made all those tackles. And then eventually I found out that he was playing the position where he's the guy who tackles, as the gunner, you're going to, that's how it's going to happen. But, it's kind of like, whatever, Devontae Shannon having 22 tackles against Army. It's like, well, you're the safety and they run all the time. And of course it just funnels to you. That's how it's going to happen. I don't know. I'm not pro Tasker Hall of Fame. I don't believe that because honestly, he would have played receiver more. And I know Jim Kelly talks about that. And I like Tasker. I like him as a guy too. I've hung out with him, sat and played poker with him. several times. But that's not Hall of Fame to me. I'm cool with Devin Hester. Devin Hester was like change the game guy. Tasker was go tackle a guy so they don't get more yards. That's different. If Tasker was also a return man, like a legit threat as a return man, then I'd be arguing for him. But as much as I like him, that's not what Hall of Fame is to me. But I do agree with you that it's neglected very much. That said, how well can you punt? Like, there's no other stuff. It's just he punted and then they got the ball over there. Like, that's the whole story. So Ray Guy being in the Hall of Fame, that one's weird to me. Kicker, yes. I think, Vinatieri should be there soon, I think. I don't know. I'm done.
I just, it's so ignored. I mean, look at us. We were at UB in the 3 seasons before Pete Lembo got there, and it felt like it wasn't factored into anything ever.
Yep.
And there was an awful lot of losses, and a lot of them could be directly pointed to.
Just fix it with a couple of special teams things. Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Anyway, the New York Giants with a loss guarantee the first pick.
You're a stupid
They're
team.
in Las Vegas. They are in Las Vegas. This is the place where you go when you're having a 2-win season and you get just absolutely shit hammered and you get in trouble and you come out and you play like garbage.
Right. Your 4th tight end's arrested. Like, something happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
have some fun. It's like Reno, but a little worse.
Instead, what happens is the Raiders say, oh, you know what? We're going to put Max Crosby on the IR. And Max Crosby looks around and comes out and publicly says, why? I was going to play. They're like, we think you're good here.
Right.
We don't want you. We're good.
Then he's on a trampoline.
Yeah. The Giants turn into, the 72 Dolphins. Like they looked great. Yeah, they looked great.
Of course.
All 3 phases. They're nailing field goals at the buzzer from distance with a rookie kicker. They're out there making special teams plays. They're getting Bobby Okereke hasn't done a thing all year. He gets an interception in the red zone, returns it out. Just look great. They get a win, and now they're picking second, which completely devalues their situation because now you let the team that needs a quarterback ahead of you. The whole thing was, all right, I'm the Giants. I don't need a quarterback. What I do is I need a lot of other things. So I could really use draft picks. And by having number 1, I get to control the draft for the other things. So these teams that have multiple first-round draft picks can give me more than one first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Teams like the Jets, the Browns, so that I can really make a big difference in my team because I already have that and I have the first pick and somebody else can get their choice of the quarterback they want. And instead, they go out and win. I was watching the game back and forth. When you're watching the game, it's like, cool, I would like to see a win. It's still I like that Jackson Dart didn't have to get his teeth kicked in again and looked good and I want him to feel like a winner and to have that mojo and vibe that it looked like for a little bit he was starting to lose because they were getting their teeth kicked in and the defense sucks and he was not in a good spot. Fine. And then as soon as the game ends, I'm like, wow, this sucks.
Yeah.
That win sucks. And I'll tell you why. It's because this isn't a new thing for the New York Giants.
Is this about special teams again?
No.
Okay.
No. This is about every year the Giants put themselves in a position to get a top pick or a pick that would guarantee them one of the top quarterbacks. And every year they win in week 17 or 18 and ruin the whole thing. This is, hold on, I wrote it down here. All right, this is last year, week 17. The Colts need to have a win to make the playoffs, and the Giants beat them and have their best offensive performance of the season. In 2023, they miss out on taking Jaden Daniels, because they lose the position in Week 18, beating Philadelphia, who sat all their starters going into the playoffs. In 2022, they make the playoffs, but they win a road playoff game at Minnesota. That doesn't hurt draft position. That sets them back because they think they're better than they are. And they approach the next year like, all right, couple tweaks here, and we're going to be pretty good. Guess what? They're not. The next year, they won 4 games. In 2020, they beat Dallas in Week 18 and screw themselves out of position. A couple years before that, they they win a late season game and lose the right to Chase Young, which I don't know if that would have made a difference, but at the time,
right,
he's had an average career, but at the time you lose out on the guy that was going to help you.
Yeah.
And they do it every year. They do it every year. They're in a position to say, all right, we're going to be in control of the draft. And they win a meaningless game that they have no business winning. At least this one was over the Raiders, who was the other team battling for the top pick. At least they're bad too. These other games are against good teams, and they're just winning them.
Yeah, suddenly you're awake, and suddenly you can do this.
Right, and it's a very, very frustrating thing as a fan.
I see that.
Like, what was the last 9 weeks about? If we're gonna win today, what was that about? Why did I just have to get like? It felt like every weekend for the entire season, I've had to have somebody show up at my house and power drill into my skull watching this team. And now this week, the guy just doesn't show up. And I'm stuck watching the game. And they win. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. I will say, going back to the beginning of this thing you're talking about, it's an impossibility for me to like root for the Bills to lose. I can't do it. Like I can spend the whole week.
Right.
I can spend the whole week like thinking it's better if they lose this game. And this is not now, but I had 17 years of this, so it's fine. They're not making the playoffs. Just lose. Losing is better right now. But then they kick off and they're playing the Dolphins. And I'm like, I hate the Dolphins. Beat the Dolphins. And so I get it. And they're professional athletes who are competing. So I get it. But I don't have an answer for it. I understand the frustration of like, what you want is your team to go kick their ass and lose on the officials, like the officials did something, or
on a 60-yard field goal at the buzzer, which they did all year.
Yeah, but not yesterday.
It felt like the South Park episode where the kids are in Little League and they keep trying to lose, but they keep winning. Like they get to the championship game and they find out that the other team is also trying to lose. So that they don't have to continue to play baseball.
Yeah.
And it's a funny episode. I
don't know that one.
It's the Giants and the Raiders saying,
I get it.
Hey, if you just hold your bat out there, I'll pitch and I'll hit it, and then you can we'll let you get a home run. And just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Didn't work out that way. And once the game is going on, it's like I'm watching. I want them to win. I want to see Dart do fun things. And he runs in for 2 touchdowns, and he looked good. And Wan'Dale Robinson goes over 1,000 yards, and I don't know. It's just they had it all right there, and it goes to show you how terrible Geno Smith is. I mean, Geno Smith he's got to be done. It's incredible how bad he is.
17 interceptions, I believe.
Leads the league in interceptions. He's throwing picks to Bobby Okereke. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane that he's still a starter. Won't be next year because they have the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Great. Some other NFL notes and stats that I came across that I thought
you
would enjoy.
All right. Yeah.
Washington had 8 standalone games on the NFL schedule this year. They went 0-8.
Really?
And
well,
the point differential was -77.
Jesus. That's crazy.
So they had basically 8 primetime games or a game where the entire world only has one game to watch.
One option
They
is
lost every one
let's
by
talk
on an average of 10.
let's talk about Jaden Daniels, and let's talk about quarterbacks and like rookie years and second years and like what becomes of them, because that's what I keep thinking about with whenever I think about that Washington team. It's like he was super impressive, obviously, his final year at LSU, and he was super impressive his first year in Washington, but he also looked identical to every quarterback that's ever come into the league and been too frail to make it work. And I like him. I enjoy watching him play when he's healthy, but he's never ever going to be healthy playing with, massive dudes that are trying to hit him all the time. I could not draft. And yes, I'm coming from a position of a Bills fan
Right.
with
You've got
Josh
a
Allen,
moose.
who's a moose, right? Caribou at quarterback, but like, how do you assume that that's going to be okay? I see Drake May. I see a problem for 15 years for the Bills. I see that guy is going to be awesome. I want to play him in the playoffs this year. I think that'll be fun because I've got the elder version of him coming at you if his foot works. But what am I supposed to think of Jaden Daniels at this point? And like that franchise's future. What am I supposed to think? Because I can't picture a world in which he's healthy enough for me to rely upon him.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue. It's one of the things that people talked about with him coming out of college, which was, listen, the guy's got a slight build. I know that once you get to the NFL, you usually put on a little bit of weight and you can fill out your frame. But I think what you see is that's going to be him. That's his body type. You're not going to change that too much. He's either going to have to play the style in which he plays, or they might be in trouble because he's going to get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to this second season as what's his name from down in Houston had, where he was kind of banged up, and Stroud's second year wasn't all that good.
Right.
And
Stroud was
like,
awesome as a rookie.
what was that?
Crap as a second in his second year, and he's kind of sort of back, but he's one of those medium.
Well, yeah, he was bad like the first 5-6 weeks of the season this year, and then they caught fire. And that team though is still built around the defense for sure, and that's I wouldn't say Stroud's like carrying them, but he's been much better this year than he was last year. But injuries did the same thing his second season, and you're right. Just the physical framework of Drake May seems like he's a little bit more durable.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Can take a little bit more, and I also think he's a little bit smarter with the ball as far as knowing when something is over is an underrated trait of a quarterback.
Good point. Great point.
And Josh has gotten really good at that, and then he'll have blips back on the radar screen like yesterday where he just doesn't.
When you texted me, what the hell is he doing? Yeah, that part. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's just running around. You're like, dude, just throw it away.
It's got to be so frustrating to be that good at throwing the football and having no one to throw the football to. Like, all right, I'll run over here. You guys change everything. You guys fix it. I'm going to go over there. I'll be back with you in 1.8 seconds. And then he looks, and it's still the same thing. And he's like, all right, I'm going to run over there. And like that, it sucks.
Right.
And the next thing you know, you're out of field goal range, and you lose the friggin' Eagles.
By the way, Drake May could have been a Giant, but they had to beat Philadelphia in the last week of the season, and their draft position changed.
You're okay at quarterback, man, I think. Right?
I don't know.
You have a slightly too slight version of Josh, right? He's a little smaller and weaker and can't operate the same way that Josh does because he's going to get killed, probably.
I think that I like him. I'm interested to see the what happens here in the offseason and what they do with coach, because I think Dart I think Dart, when you see him, I think he legitimately hates some of the people on this team.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see if he is the leader of which that can be like, this guy sucks. He needs to go. I want to win. Or if he's just going to kind of be like, all right, now I got a new coach. And because of the coaching change and everything, if that's going to clip his wings in that regard a little bit. I think if this season went okay, knowing that Dable, if he was coming back, let's say they win 7 games this year and Dart looks like he looks, and Dable's coming back, if he doesn't just know the GM drafted me, this coach loves me and is my boy, I can take over this team and kind of start pushing the pieces around a little bit, saying this guy sucks, he's got to go. That he might be having his wings clipped in that regard a little bit here because of all the new faces that are about to.
Do they have a
different on them?
Do they have a different season if Neighbors was healthy? Because you just said Wan'Dale Robinson went over 1,000 yards, and he's clearly not the top receiver on the team. It's Neighbors. If Neighbors is there, are things different, or are you still screwed because you can't kick field goals or whatever?
I honestly, I never saw him play with Dart. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'd like to see that combination. I certainly think they with Dart in, they scored points.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I think that they did okay. I think it took a little bit too long to get Dart or anybody other than Russell Wilson in the game this season. So, that affects things too, and that affected the record, and that loyalty to Russell Wilson in the end is what I think eventually killed Dable's tenure, that and special teams. But I'm interested to see those two play together. I know that they like each other. You could tell in the preseason when Dart was in the game and making plays, and Neighbors was like on the front edge of the sideline and celebrating with them, and like, wow, you could tell that Neighbors was like, okay, I might have somebody to throw me the football finally. And then Russell Wilson played, and he's like, all right, I got to bide my time till this guy hopefully gets injured. And then Dart can come in, and then he gets hurt, and you never get to see it. So him coming back is going to be nice. Knowing that you have a quarterback and a number one is good.
Yeah.
But they still need so much other help that like they need linebackers. They don't have any. They need corners. They need another safety. All that on the defensive line. Eventually, at some point, you have to say these guys suck. I don't think Thibodeau is going to be there.
I like all the guys. It's so weird because individually, it seems like what we talked a lot during the offseason about, like, could the Bills get after Thibodeau? Like, I like the players you have. I don't get why it doesn't amount to anything.
Yeah. Well, imagine watching it every week. Those are the same questions. Those are the same questions that I have.
Yeah.
How about we'll stay in the division here for the Bills.
All right.
How about the Jets in the month of December?
Oh yeah, this is fun. These are every number you're about to spout is going to be fun.
Their point differential is more than minus 100. I think it's 103 or 105. That's the worst point differential in the history of December ever.
Football, yeah.
Ever. And it's interesting to see that a couple of weeks ago, it kind of went unnoticed when I think it was, what's his name there on ESPN, who was like, everything is going to have to be evaluated there for the Jets. And now after this December, you're starting to hear things off and on like, Aaron Glenn isn't necessarily guaranteed to get year 2. Because I think the way it's gone in the NFL, and I kind of agree with this, is when you're walking into that situation, you can lose games. You can't be embarrassing. And I think that, yes, everybody knows that that's a reclamation project and they're kind of starting fresh and anew, and they've got new people everywhere. But to lose, like, you're not seeing them get better anywhere. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think he maybe deserves to have a second season. I don't know how much he would have been able to do with that roster to begin with, but they're embarrassing.
Well, yeah,
they've been embarrassing most of the year, and
just make us look cool is all we're looking for. Like we're gonna try to build this thing, but also make us look cool. And you're not making us look cool. You're making us look stupid.
Right, and they are on, as of right now, other than the Sabres, the Jets have the longest streak in American professional sports of missing the playoffs. They're in I think they're coming up on 15 years.
Yeah.
So, the fan base is New York City, which is already
is that big?
Joe Torre won 4 out of 5 World Series and then lost one. And everyone was like, this guy sucks. He's got to go. 15 years. 15 years. Like, they don't have patience for this.
No.
Really. And they're not seeing anything. So I think he's going to be there. I also would not be surprised if next Monday we're sitting here talking about, well, Aaron Glenn went out there, kind of looks like a stooge, isn't real nice with the media down there. He's kind of a dick in some of these press conferences and stuff. And like, why are you making the decision to switch the quarterback now? And his answer is, 'cause I wanna.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, dude, y'all know what's going on here. Like, don't be an ass.
Yeah.
And he is. And in New York City,
right,
especially, Bill Parcells could do that because he was winning every year, except for the first year and a half.
It's not the point. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He was winning all the time.
Right.
So he could go in there and look at a guy and say, that's the dumbest question I've ever heard. Next question. You're Aaron Glenn. You've never been a head coach before, and you guys lose every week by 30. Where's the attitude from? What the hell is that? Why are you talking like that? So, he hasn't exactly been making friends there either. I don't know. It's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. I've got my like group text thing that I do with all my buddies from school, my fantasy football league and all that. And there are some Jets fans in there. And I don't think the average person in Buffalo understands the frustration of a Jets fan, because they feel absolutely worthless. Like, at all times for many years, they have just felt rightfully so. I mean, the Bills were medium. They were mediocre. They were and they dealt with the Patriots crap, And I know the Jets had their 2 years with the Rex Ryan, Mark Sanchez, the 2 years they went to the championship games, whatever, but that all feels fake. Throw those 2 years out, the Jets have been in the toilet. They've been in the toilet since the Bills were good the first time, which is, this is 30 years. The Jets have been nothing at all since like Joe Namath, really. I mean, there have been flashes of it, and we don't notice, I guess, like out loud.
Well, you don't notice because they've been largely irrelevant.
Yeah, but
what happens?
But yeah, right. I guess that's right. But Jesus, man, that franchise, it gets talked about. Well, you link them to the Sabres. It's like that. Like, I don't watch hockey. That said, when you said Sabres and streak, I thought about 8 wins as opposed to 14 years out of the playoffs or whatever number it is at this point. So maybe that's turning into something. The new GM is undefeated. Lindy gets to keep his job. That's pretty fun. But it takes something monumental to even garner interest. And there are these poor Jets fans that have just been clinging to life on friggin' nothing. Like there's nothing there. So I don't think anyone would be mad aside from Aaron, Glenn, and his family if they decided it was time to move on already. But yeah, that team. I went into yesterday thinking, you know what, the Bills have a shot at the 2 seed, the 1 seed even. Like I was like, all right, there's some math here that it takes a lot of stuff, but they could get there. And the part about winning the division is like, all right, well, the Bills have to go 2-0. They have to beat the Eagles. They didn't. They're going to beat the Jets. Or maybe not now, but if they needed to beat the Jets, they were going to beat the Jets. I went into it thinking you just need to be 1 game better than the Patriots over 2 games. And it was the first time I even looked at a score. One of my kids was like, it's 42-6 or whatever. I don't even know what the game ended up being.
Right.
But it's like, all right, well, I guess go Dolphins, because that was the 1:00 game. The Bills weren't playing until 4 or whatever. I think in conclusion, I agree that the Jets suck.
Well, and let me my last little number here that I saw is tied into the Jets, and the real person or the real situation that should be picking first in this year's draft is Sauce Gardner, because Sauce Gardner was on the 1-7 Jets and got traded at the deadline to the Indianapolis Colts,
Who lost every game since he got there.
who have now gone 1-6 since he's been there. He's been on 2 teams and seen 2 wins this year as a player.
Despite the fact that they have combined for like 8.
At the time, Sauce Gardner, on the worst team in the league, is traded to, at the time, the best team in the league, and now they are out of the playoffs.
And they're the worst team in the league since he got there.
Yeah,
And he hasn't played almost at all. Came in, got hurt, and nothing. Sitting there watching.
I'm not gonna throw this all at his feet.
Oh no, it's not his fault. But it's super funny.
Yeah, that's a heck of a season from Sauce.
Wow.
That's got to be demoralizing.
You think?
Because
I'm demoralized thinking about him. Yeah, it sucks.
Even the most confident of pro athletes,
which he is,
have to sit there and think, even if it's for a moment, think, man, maybe it's
me.
Is it me? Is it me? I don't know. I did pretty good at Cincinnati. Like, we went to the playoff. Like, we were a group of 5 team. We went undefeated like 2 years in a row or whatever it was. Like, but that now maybe it is me. Like, holy crap, this sucks.
Yeah. Wow. That's awful. Great point. Good job. Good job bringing everything you brought to the table today, Scott. Nailed it again, as always, my man. You know what? I think giving you Friday off made you more powerful today.
Oh, well, I would have no doubt. I'm all cranked up on football and Mountain Dew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of football.
There was a lot of football this weekend. It was great.
Do you have
it's nice.
We haven't talked about college at all.
We haven't really talked about college, but one of the reasons I like the bowl games is, again, we talked about this last week. Like, oh, it's not even fair having these group of 5 teams play Power 5 teams, and then it's like, I get to see East Carolina go out there and pound a Power 5 team, and like, it's just ridiculous. The SEC is so great, and then LSU just goes and loses to Houston.
Yeah,
it's good when it reinforces what I've been saying. It's good that I'm ending this year on a 4-game streak.
You're killing it. You're killing it.
Killing it. Making so much money, hand over fist.
Yeah, that's nice.
I can't, my backyard right now, no snow, just all filled with coins like Scrooge McDuck. From the past 4 weeks, I dive into it and swim around.
It's gotta be nice
in the mud. Yeah. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun because of like BYU and Georgia Tech played. Those are two teams that had almost borderline historic seasons for their program. Georgia Tech was almost made the playoff. They were great. BYU lost 2 games, both of them to Texas Tech, who was in the top 5 and in the playoff. And those two teams are battling back and forth. That's a big time matchup. And I didn't give a crap anything besides what are the Pop-Tarts doing.
Yeah.
In that game. And I appreciated that both teams really leaned into the Pop-Tart of it all. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see any of the game?
No, I know of this only through your text messages.
Georgia Tech's helmet stripe had sprinkles on it.
Oh, that's nice.
So, like both teams were really into it.
Playing the game.
Both schools did like kind of little pieces about Pop-Tarts like on their campus. Georgia Tech did a whole thing where we're the engineering school, and they started to break down the engineering of a Pop-Tart, and it was kind of funny. And they're doing it right. They're ending the game by giving a trophy that is a toaster.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, right.
Amazing.
That's what it's all about. Like that is the overarching history of college football leans more towards a trophy that's a toaster than it does anything else. And that's why it's so fun. That's why two teams playing for a brass spittoon is great. It's ridiculous.
Right.
That's why it's great. That's why it's fun. And the Pop-Tarts Bowl has really found that niche. And that's why you're seeing these other games lean into it as well. The Mayo Bowl.
Yep.
The having a big giant specially made Gatorade jug that looks like a coffee cup to spill iced coffee on the winning coach is fun. That dumping Cheez-Its on people is great. But the full immersion of the Pop-Tarts Bowl has been fantastic to watch.
Yeah. Regarding Pop-Tarts in life, I don't like them at all. And
really?
Yeah. And I strongly believed the first time I had a toaster strudel that the Pop-Tarts reign was over. And there's no question. One is terrible and one is amazing, and they are competing with each other. And for that reason, I can't fully support the Pop-Tarts. But I get what they're going for. It's cool. Have you had a toaster strudel ever?
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
They're great.
Yeah.
And Pop-Tarts aren't great at all.
It was little strudels.
Pop-Tarts got beat when toaster strudel showed up. And this is, 30 years ago.
All right.
30 years ago, but there is no contest between which of these tastes better. It's no way anyone says, "Oh, I like the Pop-Tart." Nobody. 0%. So while I appreciate everything you just said, and I appreciate college football embracing it and the teams embracing it and sprinkles on a helmet and all that, toaster strudel, man. Toaster strudel is unbelievably good, and Pop-Tarts are shit.
Thoughts?
Right. Yeah. Thoughts?
I'm going to say this to you now because I know that you're the type of person that will run with it. And I know that because you brought a mustache to Ball State with me.
I did.
2026 Toaster Strudel Bowl.
Uh-huh.
UB Stadium.
I don't like the track around the field.
But if you host a bowl game, maybe you start to bring in extra revenue.
Okay. All right.
Well, all right. Okay.
New stadium.
The track gets removed.
New stadium.
Play at Toaster Strudel Stadium.
Okay.
And then teams start coming in and playing in the toaster.
We're
playing in the toaster.
Let's go. Yeah. Let's go Toaster Bowl. Yeah.
Or, hey, tonight it's Bowling Green and Buffalo from the Strudel.
The Strood. Live from the Strood. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's something. Toaster strudel is one of the most unappreciated things that we have in America.
Are they owned by the same company as Pop-Tarts?
They can't possibly be. They can't
I
possibly
could picture Pop-Tarts putting together a thing and saying let's absorb toaster strudel and make it ours before we become theirs.
I want to say toaster strudel is Pillsbury. I'm looking it up.
Google trying to buy YouTube before YouTube buys Google type of thing.
Yeah. No, I get that. All right. Toaster strudel, Wikipedia. Pillsbury. Yes. All right. Toaster strudel is Pillsbury. Pop-Tarts are not Pillsbury. There's no way. That's the beauty of it. Now that I think about it, that makes sense. Pillsbury.
Oh my God.
Fluffy.
They could play games at the Doughboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. We can just get Pillsbury Stadium.
All of this
Every
makes
time there's a
total
touchdown,
sense
you just
to me.
hear, woohoo!
It all makes perfect sense. All right. Who Pop-Tarts? Who makes Pop-Tarts suck is the point too. Oh, wow. I type in Pop-Tarts and it's like Pop-Tarts versus toaster strudel. No. Pop-Tarts wiki. We'll just see who makes Pop-Tarts from that. I think that's Pop-Tarts. Come on. Kellogg. There's another company called Kellanova, but it's formerly Kellogg. So Pop-Tarts is Kellogg's, and Toaster Strudel is a far superior product made by Pillsbury. And it's fluffy. It's fluffy and great.
It's flaky. It's fluffy.
Yeah.
The filling is better.
Yeah.
You get the icing packet that you got to heat up.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, it's a much better experience
It's
all in all.
Unbelievable.
I get you, and I'm ready to have the Toaster Strudel Bowl
I feel like
at UB Stadium. I'm ready to call it the Toaster Strudel Bowl.
right, but
like
eventually
the glass bowl or the Rose Bowl,
Pillsbury Bowl.
the Pillsbury Bowl. I'm even on board because of the Cheerios thing downtown. We could just be the cereal bowl.
That's fine too. Yeah, that's
And
great.
have them come in. We could have a Cheerios bowl.
Jump into
I
a
think that
giant
we
thing of
should do
milk.
that. Yes. Yeah.
The whole
thing.
team just jumps into this giant milk bowl with a giant spoon. Yeah, all of it makes sense. I'm going to throw this out there. We don't ever talk about hockey, but the Sabres have won 8 in a row. They are now tied for the last playoff spot. They're not technically in the playoffs yet, but they're right there. It has worked. Winning 8 games in a row has worked, and finally they've moved up the standings. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams behind them in the conference. Like, that's new. Super cool. But in scrolling through to look at that today, I saw the record of the Colorado Avalanche. Are you aware of the Colorado Avalanche? This, to me,
Yeah, they're the reverse Rockies.
we're back in Denver where you brought it up to me, and now I'm bringing it up to you. They're 28-2-7. They've lost twice. Because I was just looking at the streak. The Sabres have won 8 in a row. I'm like, anybody else close? I'm like, yeah, the Rockies. The Avalanche. They've won 7 in a row. So I'm like, oh, how's their record? Well, they've played 37 games and have 63 points, which seems impossible until you see 28 wins, 2 losses, 7 overtime losses. I just wanted to document the fact that I noticed, holy crap, what is going on in Denver with this hockey team. I haven't seen them play. They have Landeskog, I'm sure, and a couple other guys I've heard of, but I don't know who they are, what's going on in the league. I don't watch it, but 28-2-7 is crazy.
Well, yeah, them and the Broncos here this fall. I'm not sure what, of the position of the Nuggets right now, but I know that they've got Jokic, so I'm sure that they're probably pretty good
Probably
too.
fine, yeah.
They've had a good fall. Ever since the Rockies stopped playing, they've won every game in every sport, basically.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right, I'm looking that up. Denver is 22-9. They're doing great. 7-10 win percentage. So, yeah, Denver, things are good in Denver. 28-2? I mean, 7 OT losses, but you get a point for those. So not whatever. All right.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Impressive. All right. I think we're done. It's do you have anything else? Probably not, right? We're done.
No, I'm done.
All right. You had a lot. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No, I got none. I'm
Okay.
going to wrap it up. Here's my thought is we've got everything got canceled. I'm supposed to end the show, edit the show, publish the show, get in the car, take my kids to some week off type of sporting crap for 2 hours. That got canceled. Wife had to go to work, didn't read an email or something to find out she didn't have to go in because everything's canceled. Driving ban in the city starting at an hour ago.
So fun is canceled.
Yeah, we've canceled fun. So I'm going to edit this show and post this show, and I don't think I'm allowed to go anywhere for the rest of the day. So, yeah, here we are. USA. Buffalo, let's go. Cool. All right, thanks, man.
All right, see ya.
All right, talk to you soon. It's Scott Wilson. He's good at this. I'll be back tomorrow. Do I want to play something fun for you? Maybe. Or is that going to be an extra hassle? I'm going to hit play on this music, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, we're out. Thanks for listening. It's episode 233 of Riter Radio. I messed up the number system where every Monday was a 1 or a 6, and every Friday was a 5 or a 0. That's dead because we just took 3 days off last week. We're going to take days off again this week. We'll be full steam, boom, right at you next Monday. But kids are off for 2 weeks straight, and I've got 3 of them. And as old as I am and as old as I look, I have young children. One of them's 6'2", but the other 2 are, 11 and 9, and they're kids. I got to deal with kids, so we can't do a show every day. But I'll be back tomorrow for sure, and then probably Wednesday, and then no way Thursday, and then maybe Friday, something like that. No, not Wednesday. No Wednesday. Wednesday, I have to coach a basketball practice right in the middle of the show. We'll set up a camera. You can watch practice. I'm not positive. But we're wrapping it up right now, and I'll be back with you on tomorrow at 10 o'clock. What do you want to hear? We'll hit something. It's getting loud upstairs. I can tell. Tell everybody's home and awake and loud and annoying. We'll go do that. See you tomorrow.